The Girl and the Lost Treasures of Dorak. It's a curious tale, woven into the fabric of history and legend, a blend of archaeology, mystery, and the relentless pursuit of treasure. A story that starts on a slow train winding its way through the Turkish countryside, destined for Izmir, a city on the Aegean coast steeped in history. But what happened aboard that train, and in the shadow of the ancient Dorak treasures? The world may never know the whole truth, but the legend continues to capture the imagination of many. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, the world was in the midst of a fervent archaeological race. Every ancient site seemed to hold potential for an important discovery, a buried artifact, or perhaps an entire lost civilization. Archaeologists and treasure hunters alike scoured the Mediterranean basin and beyond, hoping to uncover the secrets of long-dead peoples and lost empires. Among these, Dorak, an archaeological site in western Turkey, became a place of fascination and speculation. The Dorak site was believed to be the location of an ancient city that might be the long-lost Troy, or perhaps an entirely different, mysterious civilization. The area had long been of interest to scholars, particularly because it seemed to lie at the crossroads of several ancient empires, Hellenistic, Persian, and possibly even earlier, reaching back into the depths of antiquity. But it was the discovery of a trove of treasures that made Dorak infamous. Exquisite gold jewelry, delicate artifacts, and priceless relics that seemed to tell the story of a long-lost culture, one that might have been the foundation of many myths. The origins of these treasures are difficult to pin down. Some historians claim that they were looted from a burial site of unknown but highly important cultural significance. Others say they were the remnants of a powerful, forgotten kingdom, left behind as remnants of an era when the world was ruled by kings, queens, and their legacies of gold. The artifacts, though valuable, were oddly mismatched, as if they had been collected over the centuries from different peoples and times, adding to the mystery of their true origin. Were they from a single ancient civilization, or had they been amassed over time by successive rulers, all unaware of the others? But the significance of the Dorak treasures was not just in the objects themselves, but in their connection to a mysterious figure, a young woman who was said to have vanished with the artifacts. The legend of the girl who vanished with the treasures of Dorak is as much a part of the mystery as the treasures themselves. Her name, like the exact details of the treasure's origin, remains elusive. Some claim she was an archaeologist, others suggest she was a thief with a vast knowledge of ancient cultures. There are whispers that she was connected to the European aristocracy, or perhaps even to one of the great explorers of the time. Whatever the case, the girl was said to be an enigmatic figure, intelligent and independent, with a deep understanding of both the ancient world and the value of its treasures. Reports from various sources during the early 20th century describe her as a woman of exceptional beauty and charm, but also of considerable intelligence. She was no mere passive observer of history, but someone who had taken an active role in uncovering and understanding the secrets of the ancient world. Some even suggested that she had formed an illicit relationship with one of the lead archaeologists on the site, using her position to gain access to the treasures. According to various accounts, the girl had learned about the treasures of Dorak from a combination of historical texts, whispers from local villagers, and possibly even a few confidences shared by the archaeologists working at the site. The treasures, it seemed, were far more valuable than anyone had imagined. The artifacts were not just items of cultural significance, but also a cache of immense financial worth. Their discovery was not just a victory for archaeology, but a potential windfall for anyone who could claim ownership of them. But how exactly did this girl manage to disappear with the treasures? The journey that would define her fate began on a quiet spring morning in 1912. A slow-moving train, known as the Slow Train to Izmir, was preparing to depart from the small station in the Anatolian countryside, bound for the bustling coastal city of Izmir. This train, unlike the faster express services, took its time, leisurely winding through the hills and valleys of western Turkey, passing through sleepy villages and wide-open fields. The journey on the slow train gave travelers ample time to reflect, observe the landscape, and engage in conversation, a perfect setting for a plot to unfold in secrecy. The girl was said to have boarded this particular train, carrying with her an ornate, seemingly innocuous trunk. Onlookers at the station described her as a striking figure, tall, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to gleam with a secret. She was dressed in an elegant but simple manner, enough to blend in with the crowd yet distinct enough to stand out among the other passengers. The trunk she carried appeared unremarkable, but those who had the chance to glimpse inside would later confirm it was filled with treasures, gold, jewels, and relics from Dorak. What was inside the trunk? It is said that she carried with her some of the treasures of Dorak. Gold bracelets, intricate necklaces, rings set with precious gems, and strange relics that defied easy classification. There were also accounts of her carrying a peculiar map or set of notes, possibly documenting the treasure's origins or their ultimate destination. The contents of the trunk, however, were a mystery to most of the people aboard the train. The girl was a skilled actress, charming and engaging in conversation without giving away too much about herself. Her mysterious aura and air of knowledge captivated those around her, but she kept her true intentions hidden. But one thing was certain: the girl never arrived in Izmir. The slow train to Izmir was not a fast train, and the journey from the heart of Anatolia to the bustling coastal city could take hours, even days, depending on the weather and the condition of the tracks. It was a slow journey, one that afforded passengers plenty of time to socialize, observe, and reflect. Many aboard the train were traveling for business, trade, or pleasure, with no suspicion that they were in the company of a woman who would soon become the focal point of an unforgettable mystery. Some passengers remember seeing the girl at various points along the journey, speaking with a young man who appeared to be a companion, though none could recall exactly when he had boarded the train. Others recall her walking alone along the length of the train during a stop at a small station, where she disappeared for a few minutes into the brush nearby. No one thought much of it at the time. After all, the train was a long journey, and many passengers took the opportunity to stretch their legs, wander, or converse. It was at one of the final stops before reaching Izmir that the girl and her trunk were no longer seen. Passengers disembarked, luggage in hand, and the train continued its journey toward the city. But no one could find the girl. Her trunk was gone. The train staff later reported that the cabin she had occupied was empty, and her belongings had mysteriously vanished. The peculiar part was that there was no indication that the girl had left the train. She had simply disappeared. When authorities were alerted, the search for the girl was swift but ultimately futile. There was no trace of her along the tracks, no sign of struggle, and no further evidence pointing to what had happened. Some claimed she had simply disappeared into the wilderness. Others speculated that she had been helped, perhaps by the young man who had been seen with her earlier, or by accomplices who had been waiting for her at one of the many stops along the route. Local legends began to grow around her disappearance, each more fantastical than the last. In the years that followed, the mystery of the girl's disappearance deepened. Some believed that she had simply run off with the treasures, seeking refuge in a foreign country. Others thought she had been the victim of a more sinister plot, perhaps an abduction or a murder, intended to prevent her from revealing the location of the treasures. Still others whispered of secret societies or treasure hunters who had orchestrated her vanishing, knowing full well the value of the Dorak artifacts. Rumors continued to swirl for decades. Some said the girl had been part of an underground network of treasure hunters who plundered ancient sites across the Middle East. Others believed she had been a spy, using the treasures as leverage in a high-stakes game of diplomacy. Some even speculated that she had been working on behalf of powerful individuals or governments, using the treasures to secure influence or power in international circles. In any case, the treasures of Dorak were never recovered, and the legend of the vanished girl continued to grow. Some scholars dismissed the story as a fabrication, a mixture of imagination and folklore. But others insisted that there was a kernel of truth to the tale, that the girl had indeed disappeared with the treasures, and that they were still out there somewhere, waiting to be found. Today, the story of the slow train to Izmir and the girl who vanished with the treasures of Dorak remains one of the great mysteries of the 20th century. The treasures, if they ever existed, are lost to time. The girl herself remains an enigma, a symbol of intrigue, beauty, and the allure of forbidden knowledge. In the annals of archaeology and treasure hunting, her name may have faded, but the story persists. It has been romanticized in novels, speculated upon in documentaries, and retold in whispered conversations among those who still believe in the magic of the ancient world. Some argue that the treasures of Dorak could one day be found, perhaps buried beneath a forgotten tomb, or hidden in the vault of a long-lost palace. Others wonder if the girl herself might reappear, stepping out from the shadows of history to reclaim what was once hers. In the end, the slow train to Izmir carries with it not just the weight of lost treasure, but the tantalizing possibility that there are secrets yet to be uncovered, stories waiting to be told, and mysteries waiting to be solved. And so, the legend of the girl who vanished with the treasures of Dorak endures, as enigmatic and elusive as ever.